So
how many jobs did you interview before Bellevue East?
I 7 to 10.
Wow.
Yeah. I could be more than that, to be honest with you. I turned down 2 of them before I got to Bellevue East.
Oh, why?
Well, one of them was Carroll, so kind of in my area, but and then the other one was Columbus Junction. Carroll would have been middle school, and Columbus Junction would have been elementary, which is fine. I like those lower levels of PE because they actually want to be there sometimes, and sometimes high school kids are like, I'm not moving, I'm not changing. Like they'll defiant. But the biggest thing was like neither of them had guaranteed wrestling positions, and not that I needed to be a head coach right away. I just knew that if I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like I needed to be involved in the sport, and without some sort of guarantee, then you're kind of going in blind to a community that, what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you just don't get that same type of involvement. So
Yeah.
kind of worked out. Like plus with my fiance being a social worker, like in those smaller communities, it could be harder for her to find work, where in the Omaha area, she's got unlimited options. So
Yeah. And you weren't unfamiliar with Omaha.
no.
Really? No.
Yeah. I live like my hometown is about an hour and a half away from here. So I've been down to Omaha a lot. And when I was in high school, middle school, I went to Powerhouse Wrestling Club.
Yeah.
So come down here all the time with Coach Massey. But so yeah, it was pretty familiar ground for me.
Yeah. Did you know about Bellevue East?
I only did because of the Grice brothers, Garrett and Gabe.
Yeah. Did you wrestle with them at all?
Yeah, they came to Powerhouse for the first couple of years, and then I think they went obviously to MWC after that. But yeah, they were with. I actually had a Team Grice singlet. They had this. It was really cool yellow and blue. It was a gorilla. It was sweet. Like I had no idea. Like I knew it was the Grice brothers, but I didn't really think they had their own brand and team. It was pretty kind of cool though.
Yeah. Did you wrestle with them, or were you a little? Nah, you were probably a little bit bigger than them, but
I
you
was
may
a little
still
bit.
have.
Yeah, I was a little bit bigger and older. I think I was two years older. I think I wrestled them maybe once or twice, but
Oh.
they were on like same dual teams for like some youth dual stuff in the Omaha area, but never really like competed with them or wrestled too much in the practice room. No.
Gotcha. And did you go to Powerhouse by yourself, or your dad take you or something?
Yeah, it was my mom, my dad, and then my brother. So it was kind of like who was free that
Oh,
night.
okay.
So like, yeah, there was many nights where I'd either leave middle school practice a little early or leave track practice early for freestyle Greco season, and we would drive the hour and a half, maybe once or twice a week, depending on what's going on. And it was a lot for a while.
Yeah. You'd leave middle school practice early to go
Yeah.
straight.
So like we'd go from probably, I don't know, 3:30 to 5 or whatever, but
Yeah.
we'd leave at like 4:30 to make the hour and a half trip and be there by, I think it was 6:30, 7, maybe something like that. But like, yeah, I'd leave just a couple minutes early. Not like I'd still be there, but yeah, my coach was fine with it because he knew I was just going to more wrestling. So it wasn't,
Yeah.
can't complain too much about that. But yeah.
An hour and a half drive?
Yeah, hour and a half drive. So like I said, it's like when I started getting older and I made Fargo teams, there'd be times where I was going, during the winter, I would go every Sunday for personal training. And then after the season, it would be 2 to 3 nights a week of freestyle and Greco until mid-July. Like my parents they put up some miles for me, and I'm super grateful for them, like looking back, because I remember being in like the van going to Powerhouse with some of the Bellevue East guys, and they're like, you drove an hour and a half? That's crazy. I'm like, well, I mean, I kind of wanted to be good, and so I had to give up time to do it. Like it's kind of one of those sacrifice things you got to do.
Yeah. What do you mean personal training?
So on some, like a lot of clubs do it. Like you and another person come in, and technically, as a high school athlete, you're not allowed to go to like a club practice, but you can pay for personal training. And so me and another person, whether it was my brother or if it was just some random person that wanted personal training, you go in with Massey and you basically get an hour of something you want to work on, and he just shows you some techniques and kind of drill through it and stuff like that. It was mostly like Massey watching video of my matches from that week or weekend, and then he would kind of help critique what was going on and smooth out some things. But I mean, it's good high level stuff.
Yeah. That's crazy because like in total you'd drive 3 hours per trip, and then you'd spend couple hours there. Like you're spending more time driving than you are wrestling.
Yeah, yeah.
Did
But
you
I
ever
mean,
think about moving?
no, never. I don't. I'll be honest with you. My dad, for the longest time, I mean, he loved being there, and I don't think he wanted to get another job or thought about getting another job. And so I think it would have been difficult for him to want to pick up and move and stuff.
Yeah.
Now that he's not coaching wrestling at OABCIG, I think he's more open to that. But obviously, it's a little late now. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. So which you're from Ida Grove, right?
I'm
No,
from
Battle
Battle
Creek.
Creek.
Battle Creek.
Yeah,
Sorry. Uh-oh.
you're
I'm
okay.
gonna I'm gonna
I
get
tell everybody Ida Grove because it's the most known of the town, so I have to kind of connect some dots for people. Yeah.
yeah. But let's rep Battle Creek, all right? So are you from
Yep.
there? Like, is that where
I
you born and not born, but maybe born? I don't know. Born and raised.
I was born in St. Joe, Missouri. Lived there for
What the
yep.
heck?
My
Okay.
parents lived there for 2 years. I think kind of more on a whim. Like my parents grew up in Eastern Iowa and then got married and stuff, and then I think moved to Missouri just kind of to follow my dad for a job. And so I lived there for the first 2 years of my life. Obviously, don't remember any of it,
Mhm.
but then moved up to Mobile. So we were in Mobile for a while,
Where's that?
and it's like Woodbury Central. I'm sure you've heard of Woodbury Central.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
right
Oh.
right to the east of Sioux City. So lived there until I was in kindergarten, and then my dad had lived at or been working at OABCIG while we lived in Mobile. So my
Huh.
mom worked in Sioux City, and so she got a different job. Didn't want to have to commute all the way to Sioux City all the time, and so we just moved to Ida Grove. And so then we were where my dad works, and now my mom works at the hospital in Ida Grove. My dad still teaches at OABCIG at the high school. And then we lived in Battle Creek since I was in kindergarten or first grade, I should say.
Okay.
First grade.
Where are your parents from? You said Eastern Iowa.
Yeah, my mom is from Clarksville, so it's a little bit
Yeah.
west of Waverly. And then my
Hmm.
dad is from Reedland, so he went to Wapsie Valley.
Reedland. Okay.
Yep.
That's the reason I know what Reedland is because it has like the big sign about the grumpy old man that lives there.
Yes. Yeah. So the bar in town is called Grumpy's, and um,
Oh,
my
okay.
my parents actually had their wedding reception at Grumpy's, and it's
Okay.
got like there's got this big music venue back there. It's not big, but it's like a little town hall area where they have some live music sometimes, and
Yeah.
that's where they got a live band and had their reception there. And yeah, my parents love that place. Yeah.
Okay, now I understand when I drive past there what that big sign. I literally like for the longest time I thought like a grumpy old man used to live there and it was like an inside joke or something, like some
I'm sure there's some
evil
sort of
old
inside
man.
joke that I don't know either, but I just know the bar is called Grumpy's. Yep.
Yeah, so you grew up, so you're from Battle Creek, went to OABCIG. Where's the school at? Is the school in Ida Grove?
Yes, the high school is in Ida Grove. So
How far were you from the high school?
10, 15 minutes. It's not too far, but it's a good little
Oh,
drive.
yeah. Like I always ask, or I like to know that because like I grew up literally like I could throw a rock and hit the high school.
Yeah. There were
So like people driving 15 minutes just to get to high school, like
well, there's some people in our community. So like Odebo is probably a good 20 minutes to Ida Grove. There are
yeah.
people that live like a little bit like to the east of Odebo, like the country
Hmm.
of Odebo, and like make a 45-minute drive to Ida Grove for high school. And it's like, geez, like that's dedication right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, especially well for you, like it's a 15-minute drive, 10, 15 minutes, but it's winter, it's really cold, you got to de-ice your car. I mean, did you have like morning workouts where you were like, dang, I don't want to
Yeah.
do this? Like,
Yeah. We would lift Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then
really? What
what my
time?
dad they'd be at like 6:45 or something like that. And then
Still. Oof.
on Tuesdays and Thursdays, my dad would do these things called Victor's Club, and Victor's Club was just a optional workout on Tuesdays and Thursdays for dudes that wanted to get better. So we'd come to the school. It was a lot of just running and conditioning stuff, but some days
Yeah.
it would be a little more intense than others. But so there were some days I was going 5 days a week. Sometimes I'd skip lifts if I had like a weigh in. I needed to actually just lose the weight instead of actually lift or something. But yeah, I was doing morning workouts pretty often. So yeah, there'd be days I'd have to get up pretty early, pack a bag, defrost the car, yeah, and drive 15 minutes over. So,
Jeez. When did you start wrestling? Like, did your dad wrestle?
so my dad My dad has quite the college story. So he wrestled in
Really?
Lafayette
Okay.
all this stuff. And then I think he wrestled a year at Simpson, okay,
Okay.
just 1 year. And then I think he dropped out of college and
Okay.
then went back to college and went to UNI. And he played rugby at UNI for a while. And
Okay.
then, I mean, whenever he was finished with that, then went to obviously the Missouri. And then, I don't know, he was been all over, but like he's been obviously wrestling since he was younger. So he kind of grew up coaching and stuff like that. And I started when I was in kindergarten. So say he lived in Mobile. I went to Mobille's youth club in kindergarten. And then
Nice.
once I moved over, I went to the club in Odebolt called Mat Rats. So
Yeah, Matt
I've been
Rats.
doing that since kindergarten or so.
Wow. Ever quit?
Um, so not until my junior year of high school, actually. So my
What?
Yeah, so my first year, 2 years of high school were kind of up and down or whatever. I was cutting a lot of weight, and then my junior year, I was the guy. Like, so then I didn't have to worry about like my first 2 years. There was a guy that was ahead of me. Shout out Curtis Krager. I always had to avoid him because he could beat me. So I had to lose the weight or go up. And at the time, I have to cut weight because otherwise I'm not going to be strong enough. That's what they always say.
Right.
But then my junior year, I was finally the guy and didn't have to worry about that. So I tried cutting a bunch of weight because that's kind of what I was used to. And I was trying to make 132 from like 155 or something like that. And really for not much of a reason,
Mhm.
other than I thought I needed to. And so like for 2 days, I'd quit because like it was probably like the second week of wrestling right after Thanksgiving or so, and I told my dad like I'm not doing this, like not cutting
Mhm.
the weight. I'm tired of the grind. Like I don't want to do this anymore. And I didn't quit for very long, obviously, the 2 days, but you get a call from Keith Massey again. Get a call from him. He's like, you're gonna regret this. Like he kept asking me why do you want to cut the weight, and I said, well, I don't think I'll be as strong at this weight. I think that there's a lot of competition there. And he just kind of said, well, this is the sport that you love and it's going to change your life, and there's no reason to avoid something hard. Like it ended up being hard. Like I wrestled 138 my junior year, didn't even make it to districts. I lost at sectionals. Had two guys at my weight in sectionals that ended up getting second and seventh. So like kind of a loaded sectional, but
Yeah.
I was trying to run from it. And I guess kind of part of that conversation with Keith was like, don't run from that something hard because you're gonna, it's life changing type of thing. Like as much as the wrestling part of it is the wrestling part of it, but you're gonna kind of take that life lesson of you're running away from that hard. It's just that
Mhm.
little bit of kind of because I knew I could do it. I just was trying to avoid it. So
Mhm.
I just kind of figured that out and wrestled it, and obviously now wrestling's part of my life forever. So yeah, I did quit for 2 years my junior year. Yep,
Wow.
not 2 years, 2 days my junior year.
Yeah. Who
Yeah,
was it at your sectional that year?
it was Chase Loonsman from Atlantic, and then Isaac Bryan from Sergeant Bluff. So those are the
Did you
two
just
guys.
Chase
Yep.
Loonsman from Atlantic?
Yeah, he ended up making the finals that year. I don't remember who he lost to, but he ended up making the
Wow.
finals. Yeah. So I wrestled Isaac Bryan in the semis. Actually, I wrestled him at our Herbergens tournament, which is a big tournament, in the semifinals, and lost to him. I want to say 7-4. I might just
Yeah.
be making that up. And then at sectionals, lost to him 5-3. So two just tough ones, but
Yeah.
that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah. And by then, were you doing the powerhouse and like it sounds like you were doing all that work? I mean, that had to be.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to put myself in 17-year-old Jake Nieman's shoes. Like that'd be pretty deflating that you're doing all this work and can't even get out of sectionals, you know?
Yeah, it was difficult. Like I said, I've been doing Powerhouse probably since seventh or eighth grade. I don't
Yeah.
know if I started personal training until my actual junior year. Like that's once Massey called me, like he had a conversation with my parents and like maybe he should come down here on Sundays and start doing this kind of stuff because he thought that like me being not confident in where I was wrestling, I needed to come see him a little more often so that I could, kind of keep it light. Not that my dad is a hard ass or anything, but you know
Hmm.
how you just wrestling room all the time can get very monotonous and tough.
Mhm.
And so he kind of wanted to bring me to Powerhouse on Sundays to kind of keep it more of just a light learning type of thing instead of more of a killing drills and just being super monotonous with it. So that's kind of when the personal training actually started. And so part of it was difficult. Yeah, like I was pretty down on myself for like when
Yeah.
people go to districts and go to state. Like this is that year that I didn't make it to districts. My junior year was the first year, and I think over 15 years my dad hadn't had a state qualifier, and so I was pretty down on myself for a little bit.
Hmm.
But I kind of had to flush it. That's
Right.
kind of how you do it. But because then you jump right into freestyle and Greco stuff, and so that was fun. That always kept things fun. But yeah, it was difficult for going like watching the state tournament go by and be like and just think like these guys that I wrestled kind of close are placing, and that was the one goal that I really thought I could accomplish, and put me in their shoes, maybe I'd do it, but obviously you
Hmm.
don't get there. So it was
Yeah.
tough.
Especially now you're like, okay, 75% of my my high school career is over. And it's not that you had nothing to show for it, but you didn't have anything that you felt like I didn't have anything really, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't, you didn't have your goals yet. You
I
didn't
didn't
meet,
have the medal. I didn't have the
yeah,
medal.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
you didn't
I
have the
mean,
medal.
I think part of like most of my high school career was like almost close enough. Like my freshman year, I qualified for state, but at districts, I got head tossed in the final, so I didn't get the seed I wanted. And then I'll make it to the Bloods. And then my sophomore year, I cut too much weight and go to districts, but I choke in the second place match at
Mhm.
districts. And then the junior year, I don't make it out of sectionals. So like for my wrestling career, it was always just like you're almost there, but you
Mhm.
just don't ever. Yeah, I mean, as much as you have something to show for it, like part of your like lifetime, but
Mhm.
yeah, I never had the medal until my senior year. It was always very frustrating.
Well, and actually that progression you just talked about, it almost seemed like you weren't going backwards, but result wise, it was going backwards. I mean, that's got to be frustrating as hell.
Yeah, I
You're
mean, that
sitting
was
here
part
like,
of the problem. Like my junior year, like I keep grinding my butt off and still have nothing to I'm going backwards. It's what it seems like. Yeah, like
yeah,
my freshman year, I was wrestling 106 in Western Iowa. So you can imagine there's a lot of kids that are very scrawny and just not super talented. And so I won like 40 matches my freshman year. I think I only had 3 losses going into the state tournament.
wow,
And so it was like, I'm pretty tough. Like I can
yeah,
handle this. And then again, like get to the state tournament and all those hammers, but I lost in the blood round at 6-4, like to, like,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like it's nothing. And so then after that, it just keeps going backwards and like, what am I doing wrong? There was a lot going on in my head for a while. I mean, it kind of
Yeah.
added up, and yeah, it was tough.
What snapped you out of it?
To be
You
honest
know?
with you, it was football. Football.
Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course,
So
yeah, yeah.
like I remember. So my senior year, obviously, we won that football state title. Um, but like one of the first or second weeks of January was we was wrestling, and the Sioux City Journal always does an athlete of the week, and so I was their athlete of the week for I want to say the first or second week of January or something like that, and I kind of credited a lot of my success to just being more confident, like at that time I told my dad like nobody in the state can go takedowns with me, like, and people like I eventually found some people that could, but
Yeah.
it was just part of the like I was the senior that I was trying to have a little swag, like it was one of those things is like I just have to be confident and let it fly almost, and a lot of it came from just kind of being the man on the football field. Like everybody talks about like Cooper DeJean, and I played with a lot of studs, and so it gave me this freedom to just kind of be a baller almost, put it in
Mhm.
that way, and then he just carried over into my wrestling season. Like I'm the guy, I get to be the guy and take advantage of it. So yeah, football is really what snapped me out of it.
Wow. Yeah, your team was good. And I mean, as much as we all, look at Cooper DeJean as the man, I mean, football, especially, like it takes 11 guys, you know?
Hmm.
Um, what'd you have? 1,000 yards receiving?
Yeah, I had 1,300 yards receiving.
That's
Yep.
wild.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of like the football coach at Bellevue East does a great job of talking about that message. He's got a bunch of shirts that say "row the boat," and I know that's a PJ Fleck thing, but like I
Yeah.
think carrying that on to like some of the high school kids is just so important because it's way different than wrestling. In football, everybody's got to do their job. You have to stick together as a team and be on the same page. Where wrestling, it's all you, and so
Mhm.
part of that um, is just so different. Like being in football, you all have to be on the same page. And yeah, when I was in high school, we had a bunch of different studs, and our offenses just kind of clicked perfectly, and we were able to get stops on defense. And yeah, I mean that's kind of how football went. Yeah,
Yeah, that's how you win a state title.
score more points than the other team. Simple as that.
How did you know you guys were good? Like I know you had
Um,
Cooper DeJean, but still, did you guys know as a team like, hey, we're pretty damn good?
I don't really think we knew how good we were until we beat Greene County in our ninth game. So like our last game of the regular season to win the district. Because um, we joke about this, but there was a kid, one of our linemen. We went to a spring game at USD, and he made a bet with the head coach that we were gonna go 13-0 and win a state title. And at the time, we were just like, "Shut up! Like this is." We lost in the first round. We lost our starting quarterback, and we knew we had some studs, but we were like, "Come on, duh!" And it was just funny because like we just kept winning. Like it was like, oh my gosh, like we're winning big time. But we didn't really realize how good we were until we played against Greene County because Greene County was 8-0, we were 8-0, and the year before we lost to Greene County by probably 50 or 60 points. And
Oh,
so yeah, I got ran on. And so when we beat them our senior year, it was like, oh my, like we can actually kind of do something. And obviously we won the district, went 9-0, and then got two more home games against West Marshall and Prairie City Monroe. And so PCM had won a state title recently. I think it was 2 years before. And so we're like,
mhm.
well, kind of these guys are gonna be tough, but I think obviously not tough enough. I mean, I think Greene County had beaten West Marshall, and so like we had thought, oh, if we could beat Greene County, we could beat West Marshall, and then
Mhm.
go from there. So I mean, the closest and toughest game we played was Algona in the semifinals. That was one of those back and forth. I think it was 21-21 at halftime. It was a wild game. I don't know if you have the opportunity to ever go back and watch that, but like there's crazy stuff there. It was kind of wild. And then played Waukon in the state finals, and they were a little banged up. Actually, weirdly enough, my first college roommate was from Waukon. And so
Uh,
when I got to meet all his friends, they were a little hesitant about me for a while because I was the guy that beat them in their state title game.
mhm.
But we're all like really, really good friends now. It's all in the past. But yeah, like we found out we were good right towards the end of the season. Like it wasn't something like we knew right away. It was right at the end, and we just kept going. We just kept winning. It was fun.
Yeah, I bet. Um, I heard that when you're done playing at the dome and you go and like take a shower, sometimes just the burn from the turf is just like almost unbearable. Like
Oh yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so the semifinal game was the first one, obviously, on the turf, and
Yeah.
I could try and find a picture. It'd be difficult, but my arms, like all down my forearms, it looked like a cat had got to me and just ripped my arms apart. And so before the next game, I told my parents, like, hey, you got to get me some sleeves. Like, we got to go to the store. And I remember, like, I talked about my walk-on friends. They said, I was lining up across from you, and you had full, I guess not like leggings on the leg sleeves and arm
Mhm.
sleeves. I'm like, who's this doofus that's covered up when it's 80 degrees out? But I'm like, it was really hot, yeah, but my
Mhm.
arms were cut and bloody, and I knew that if there was more blood, I wouldn't get to be on the field. But yeah, those showers were tough that first time because I was like, oh, we've never been here before. We don't know to put the tape on and stuff, and it came off right away. And so just cuts all down the arms.
Mhm.
It was brutal. It was bad.
Yeah, I forget who told. I think someone told my brother who told me that like just that's the one thing you don't think about is like, all right, we're in the dome, and then you get down, you're like, that sucked. Like,
Yeah, it's rough.
how nervous were you for that semifinals game? Because now you're in the dome, like everything is kind of like the build up to the dome, you know?
So, I mean, I talked about like the confidence part of it,
Yeah, yeah,
how it
yeah.
carried into the wrestling. Weirdly enough, now this is going to sound like I'm just making this up, but I kind of toot my own horn. I think part of the confidence just came from a leadership facade. Like
Yeah,
I kind of just told myself that, I have to be this leader. And
for
so
sure.
the whole trip over there is probably about 2.5 hour drive, maybe 3 on a bus and stuff like that. But we were goofy. Like it was no seriousness about this. Like we weren't concerned about winning or losing. And I'm sure the coaches were up there shaking, and there's even young kids. I bet the young kids were just so worried about it. But like I tried to make sure our seniors were just so light. Like we're just going out here to go play another football game, like what could be our last. We're going to freaking just have some fun. And weirdly enough, I could not tell you why I did this, but I brought or had, I don't know if I brought them or just had them in there, but I had some fake mustaches in my backpack. And so
Why?
we,
Why did you have fake mustache in the first place?
I like I said, I couldn't tell you. Like I think they were in there from either homecoming or Halloween, because it was like mid to late December. So I think they were just in there for a while. But I had some big purple sunglasses, not like comic size, but like like those Oakleys that were just
Yeah.
huge. Because like Lamar Jackson had wore those big sunglasses, those big black ones on the sideline. So I bought a purple pair, and so I was gonna wear those. And then I found these stupid mustaches, and so me and my buddies all walked into the dome with fake mustaches on, and I had these sunglasses. And I could find you this picture, but like we used to do this thing called the dude chain. So it's this big old, like kind of like the Miami turnover chain.
Yeah, yeah.
But our coaches would give it to this guy that's the dude, not the guy that scores the most points or is flashy. It's the guy that freaking stuffs his face in on run plays or is making the right blocks or just doing his job, and he's the dude of the week. And so I had the dude chain that week. So I had the dude chain, a fake mustache, and these big purple sunglasses. And at that point, yeah, we looked probably pretty stupid.
Yep.
But I think part of it was like we weren't nervous because we didn't, I guess I don't want to say didn't care, but like we kept it light. Like we just tried to make sure that we were having fun, because I mean we're seniors and we're in the last couple games, and why not just kind of have a little fun with it? So as much as that's like a fake leadership thing, but like I'm gonna give myself a little credit there. Like I helped keep it light.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you see stories like that about teams and like you don't want to make the moment bigger than what it is, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, it's just another football game. Yeah, it's another
Yeah.
football game. That's a funny story. I can't imagine what your coaches were thinking, because
I mean, we're sitting in the back of the bus, they're at the front.
Yeah.
They obviously don't really know what's going on. So we get off the bus and like, where the hell did these mustaches come from? I bet they were just so confused. I should probably go back and ask them sometime, but I bet they were just lost.
Yeah, well, because especially when you're a coach, you're like, it's almost like, all right, we're going to the state semifinals. Like, we got to be serious. Like, this is a big deal. It's a big game. Like, let's put our, business. And you guys come off the bus with mustaches and a freaking dude chain. Like,
not the most serious thing.
Yeah. But I guess it's a testament, I would say, to knowing what your team needed at that time and knowing the culture of your team. Like, if you were trying to be serious, it probably wouldn't have worked, because it doesn't sound like you were a serious group of guys. I mean, at times maybe, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like what you were.
I think like something that I've always been somewhat good at is knowing when I have to lock in and when there's okay not to. Like,
Right.
I think that's just something for every facet of your life. Like when you've got to focus, you got to focus. But other times, like it's just another day. It's just another, thing you're doing. And it's supposed to be fun. Like you do things that you enjoy. And when it comes to focusing on it, then do it. Go 100% and focus. But at other times, like it's just kind of another thing to laugh at and smile at and say you did. So
that's a good point. I mean, the bus ride there, make it be light. Like you'll lock in when it's time to lock in. When you're out there, you put the pads on. You're out there running, practicing or pregame.
That was like the coolest things. Like I think if you've ever been to a football game at the Dome, but they have that garage door that comes up, and then you run out of the garage door. And so we were all smiley, jokey, funny, and all that stuff. And then we get obviously dressed with our football stuff, and we're sitting behind the garage door. And then you could just tell like that's when everybody was refocused. Like it was done for after that. And then that garage door comes up, and it was just amazing. Like we ran out with these flags and stuff and ran down the field, and it was just that's how you know, like, that's when you know, like, that's, yeah, you got to lock back in. That's when you got to refocus. So it's cool.
Yeah, what was it like, I want to give yourself some credit here, and you have a little bit, but like you were the leader on the team with a guy like Cooper DeJean. He wasn't, he may have been the co-leader, but like you were the senior. You were the guy who wanted this probably maybe more than he did. What was it
Yeah.
like to be a leader with somebody like that on a team? Because normally when you have somebody that good, you're like you concede that they're the leader because they're the dude.
Yeah.
But you know,
I think a lot of it came from, believe it or not, I don't know how much you know about Cooper DeJean. Well, he's got a podcast now, so he talks a lot. But when he was in high school, he didn't talk too much. Like,
yeah.
he was, not that he was shy or quiet, he just kind of was a little more reserved. And we had, I want to say, 13 to 15 seniors my
Oh
senior
wow,
year.
there you
So
go.
there was
Okay.
there's a lot of us that kind of had that tighter camaraderie. And Cooper was a good leader, obviously. Like, he played quarterback, so that takes a lot of leadership in itself. But it was pretty easy for us all to kind of mesh together. And yeah, I mean, he got a lot of, that was the year that he started getting like a little recruited. Obviously,
Yeah.
he'd come as a junior and start getting that contact with coaches. But it wasn't that difficult to worry about like the leadership side of it, because he kind of allowed the older kids to be the older kids. Like,
Right.
he knew where he fit in, he knew what he had to do, and we all kind of knew our roles as well. And it was more of like a pair and like a group leadership, because we all held each other accountable, not so much of me or Cooper or one other person. It was more of like we all kind of had this same type of mission that we were on, and made sure we were all held to the same standard. So it's pretty cool.
Interesting. Interesting because I think, as we'll probably get into it, that sounds like a message that maybe you're preaching today. Um, a little
Could
bit.
be. Yeah.
Um, I want to know before we get a little bit more into wrestling, what was there to do in, like Battle Creek? Like, what'd you do for fun? Like, was there like a parlor in town or something that you went and had ice cream at? I don't know, like a drive-in. Like what? It's a
Um,
Thursday night. You're with your football buddies. What are you doing?
there was really not a lot of exciting things in the OABCIG area, to be honest with
Fair,
you.
fair enough.
There was some cool things, like there's this local park that's got a really cool sledding hill. And so, like, when it was a whatever day and it was cold or no school when I was younger, we go sledding. Sometimes in the summer we would float the river, but it wasn't anything like the Mississippi or Missouri or anything big. It was just, go hang out. Always driving around, that's everybody always does in high school. We'll drive around, drive on the dirt roads, we'll hang out at the high school parking lot,
Yeah.
go to the volleyball games, be in the student section, go to basketball and hang out with your friends. But really nothing like super exciting. Like, the town of Ida Grove has castles. That's kind of the thing, but there's really
What?
not like yeah.
What do
So
you?
there was this guy named Byron Goberson. He kind of started the manufacturing side of Ida Grove. And so Ida Grove has two big manufacturing plants called Midwest and Gomeco. Midwest makes boat trailers and boat docks, while Gomeco makes these big construction equipments for roads. And so Byron Goberson was the guy that started both of them. And both buildings are castles. Like, they're big cement with like
What
perched
the
up
heck?
walls. And then so, like, the rest of the town, like, I know the Courier has a big castle. The Skate Palace is literally just a giant castle. There's a barber shop kind of near the west side of town that's a castle. Like, it's just kind of, that's kind of the thing. So, like, when you hear people say Ida Grove, it's the castle town. Not much to do, but
Okay.
it's kind of cool to see. Like, the golf course has this cool castle sitting out front. Um, but yeah, it's, like I said, not much to do, but kind of cool to see.
Yeah. Um, so now I'm curious. Now I got to go there and check out these castles, I guess.
Do.
The wrestling portion, you said you wrestled for Matt Rats. Um, we've talked about it before, but was there a whole lot of, I don't want to say support, but like as you're coming through, like you were like the guy, but it seemed like you were like the only guy. Was that kind of the case? I mean, like mostly when you hear and you talk to people, like there's a group. And it could be a small group, 4, 5,
hmm
6, whatever. That's the way it was when I was growing up. There was a group of us. Was there a group for you, or was it just you?
So yeah, I don't want. First of all, I'm going to preface this by saying I don't want to discredit anybody or anything to what they may feel as in their own accomplishment.
No, no, yeah. But like,
But
did you go and travel with other kids, or did you go by yourself?
a
That's what I'm
lot
saying.
of it was me and my brother, and so
Yeah.
when I was coming up, so when I was probably fourth, fifth, even maybe sixth grade, like young, um, Cash Wilkie went to my high school.
Oh
So
yeah,
he
yeah.
was a two-time state champ there. Went and wrestled at Iowa. He was a varsity guy for at least 40 years over
I think
there.
I made the round of 12, I think, one year, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, pretty tough.
Yeah.
But so like seeing him was kind of one of those guys like you see, watch what he does, he wins, do what he does. Younger than him, there was this guy named Jake Wolf. I think Jake Wolf was a place winner maybe once or twice. But Jake Wolf's dad was Jason Wolf. Jason Wolf runs the Mat Rats program.
Okay.
And so the people that were around Jake Wolf's age were a little more in with the Mat Rats because they were
hmm
closer to my age. There was a group of probably 3, 4, 5 that were juniors and seniors when I was a freshman.
Okay.
They were pretty tough at the time. But like the main group was when I was younger, there was a really solid group of guys that were at state dual team pretty often, and they would, go to these camps and win these camps, and just be
Wow.
tough. They were pretty tough.
Yeah.
Like I talked to my dad, and we just went to the Luther camp with my Bellevue East guys, but he had said, like, believe it or not, we had won that camp like 2 or 3 times while I was younger.
Wow. Dude,
He's
that's
like,
tough.
not that that's like super crazy, but you think about some of the teams that go to those camps, like
Yeah.
you bring a guy, like look at OABCIG now, it's like you could never go to a camp and win it, but now back then he did have some guys, and so part of that was like there was the success, but again, not to discredit anybody, I feel like I was one of the last guys to walk out of there and be pretty successful. Yeah, so like I kind of went with those guys to some bigger tournaments that were like the guys that were juniors when I was a freshman. So like they were just a little bit older than me. We'd go to like AAU State and stay in the same hotel and go to
Yeah.
districts and all this stuff together. But yeah, around me it was kind of just me and my brother, and so there was kind of that time period. Like my dad obviously was the head coach, and so when it was me and my brother, he'd come down to Mat Rats quite a bit and help with just the round and stuff. Not that he was in charge, but he would help make sure everything was in line and offer his assistance. And then in my brother's age, my brother's 2 years younger than me, there was the assistant coach's son, and so for a while there, it was both of the head high school coaches' kids were in there, and the Jason Wolf, who was in charge of Mat Rats, was in there as well. And so we had a pretty solid group of like support from just wrestling stakeholders that were around. And it was pretty nice because like obviously we got better together. But once we kind of got older, I felt like there was, from the outside looking in, because obviously I didn't go to Mat Rats when I started getting to high school, but from the outside looking in, it was like a lack of, I don't know, they kind of didn't take it as serious then at that time. Like
hmm
they didn't have kids in the program. Like they
Yeah.
were kind of like, "Look, we're supporting, but we're not, super bought in." I don't know. To me, from the outside looking in, it felt like they kind of missed a step. And so it was, yeah, me and my brother traveling along doing stuff forever. And they're starting to get back on the right page of things over at Mat Rats. They just got a new building with some brand new mats and a workout facility underneath, and they're doing the right things. They're actually getting way better. But there was a time like right after I graduated, they only had less than 10 kids on their team, and I think it's because
Wow.
like just this misstep of you know, and again, not to discredit Cooper DeJean here, but when you see him play basketball and throw down dunks and deep 3-pointers, like you kind of want to be a basketball player. I don't, you know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
forgot
Like there's
about
that
that.
little bit of lagging effects from that.
For
But when you
sure.
see Cash Wilkie winning state championships, you kind of want to be a wrestler a little bit, if that makes sense. So like
Yeah, for
the
sure.
kids want to follow the
100%.
success, and so at the time it was just like a misstep of youth wrestling and like a drive to play basketball, which is neither here nor there, but that's kind of what I feel like why there was no strong group after me. But just
True. Was your
conspiracy.
basketball team good? Conspiracy theory. No, I think there's some legs to that story. Was your basketball team good?
They were tough. They had won quite a bit of games ever, like when I was always in high school. But my junior and senior year, they were, I think, 1 or 2 games away from making the state tournament. So like they'd played tough in the sub-state, but I think they always lost right at the end, or there was a game before, 2 games before. But yeah, they were always pretty solid.
Yeah, and like you're saying, okay, I mean, when you have somebody like that, Cooper DeJean, and he is playing basketball, of course, like people are gonna flock to play basketball, to be
Yeah,
around him, to just say
yeah.
they played with him, especially at a smaller school,
And I don't blame them either. Like,
Oh, no, right.
you look at, like, I wanted to, I mean, not that I played football because Cooper DeJean, but it helped. Like, we're all playing together and he helps us win. Why? Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously,
Yeah.
I loved football before anything, but I love wrestling, and that wouldn't change my mind to go play with Cooper. But if there's like a kid on the fence, well, shoot, I'm gonna go win games with Cooper DeJean.
Right.
Hell yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, especially on the basketball court too. The other thing is wrestling's tough, man.
It is
Wrestling's
tough.
tough.
It's very tough.
And basketball, no offense to basketball, it's not as tough. It's not that, I mean, it's not as tough for sure, but I would almost say it's not that tough. It's not that tough of a sport.
I would agree. I actually just saw a clip online of Austin Rivers. You know who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Doc
Dr.
Rivers' kid.
son. Yeah.
Yeah.
Austin Rivers he was complaining about why like you go to a local YMCA anywhere, you find pickup basketball going on around the clock. These bums that think that they think they're really good at basketball, but it's just 'cause some guy down the street that's throwing up shots. And Austin Rivers was complaining, it's like, why is our sport the only one that nobody's think they're really good at? And I'm like, I kind of thought to myself, it's because there's no barrier for entry. All you need is a basketball and a couple other dudes, and you can go play. And it's fun. It's enjoyable. I love playing basketball with my high school kids after a PE class or something. But like, there's no barrier for entry. But you think about wrestling, you gotta find a weight class, you gotta find a partner, you gotta bust your ass for the winter months. Like you could jump in there, get yourself manhandled by another dude, and be like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
You play basketball and miss a couple of shots, you might still win. It's it's just the barrier of entry thing. And I don't want to hate on basketball, but it's tough. Like wrestling is.
That's what we can do. This is a wrestling podcast. We can hate on basketball.
That's right. It is a wrestling podcast. Dang right.
It is. Yeah. To your point, I mean, you could have. It could be anybody's day. Like I'm not good, but there are some days I tell you, I feel like I can make a few shots, and I'm like, all right. But you're right, in wrestling, like you don't just show up to wrestling and be like, I can take few people down. No. But you can step on a basketball court and somehow drain a few shots, and you're like, damn, I'm good.
I played basketball in 8th grade. So
did you really?
I had a hoop outside my garage, and
oh my gosh,
I would just throw shots up all day. Weirdly enough, like I needed something to do at my house. Like I said, lived in Battle Creek. There ain't nothing to do in Battle Creek. So me and some buddies get together in town and, either throw the football around or play a little basketball. And so my 8th grade year, I had said, hey, Dad, like, obviously it's a split season.
Yeah.
I play a little basketball.
Of course.
And he goes, yeah, as long as it doesn't interfere with wrestling, whatever. And so there was one game I put up 18 points. Like, that's a lot of points for a wrestler.
Yes.
Like I'm saying, like the barrier of entry is just different.
Yeah. I forgot to ask you this earlier when you were talking about your junior year. Didn't you hurt your knee?
I did. So
did that have any impact?
I think personally I do, but I'm not going to make that excuse. My junior year, I think I wrestled a lot of the year with a torn meniscus. I didn't know it was fully torn until I want to say like March or April. But like it would always pop and crack, and could not put, like when I was in like the bottom position, I couldn't really fully bend it and put my full weight on it. But I kind of just thought it was more of a soreness or like a bursa sac or just like some tightness in it. I didn't think it was anything big deal. But actually at a powerhouse freestyle practice, I was doing some guts. I went to extend and pop through my gut, and my knee like popped and was like locked in place, and I couldn't straighten it fully. And so I ended up getting meniscus
Jeez.
surgery like in May, I think. So that's part of like
Wow.
the scary part. Like that was my junior year. So I kind of had
Yeah.
this meniscus problem going on. And then I had knee surgery early May, like just kind of terrified, don't really know what's going on. You know, you're a high school kid that has a knee injury. You're thinking, oh, shoot, I'm not going to be able to play football. But
Yeah.
like the meniscus was so easy. Like they scoped it. And I actually have a video of me doing a backflip like 2 or 3 weeks, two or
No
3 weeks
way.
after the surgery. It's like, God, this is like the easiest knee injury ever. I just got it scoped and I'm good to go. It was hilarious. Yeah, I'm
There,
sure I'll get some arthritis as I get older, but right now I love it. Like it's perfectly fine. But yeah.
there are going to be people who listen to this who've had meniscus surgery who just like had a terrible experience and be like, I hate you. Fuck you.
Yeah,
Like,
I know it. They're not gonna be happy.
so when did you hurt the meniscus the first time though? Like, did you wrestle with it? Like, did it hurt in football or when?
No, I think it was kind of like just it was throughout wrestling season, but it was just kind of like a nagging pain. Like it was nothing like instantaneous that I had known it was torn. It was just like as the winter kept going on, like it just kind of was harder and harder for me to, I guess, not fully put the weight on it, but like there was things that would kind of restrict my movement. I'd have to, sometimes take
Yeah.
injury time and, just kind of get to feeling about it. But like it was just kind of a nagging thing all winter. It was nothing super serious, I didn't think, until obviously like freestyle season when I ended up actually tearing it. So yeah,
So you wrestled all year with that.
it was definitely probably mid to late December on. Yeah. So
Eesh. Dang, that sucks.
yeah.
But your senior year, were you just like, was that the year you were, like you said, you were just locked in, like this is it?
Yeah.
Nobody's looking stopping me.
Yeah. Like I took my drilling and practices more seriously. Like I had kind of said to myself, like, I'm the guy and I'm not going to let anybody even think that they're the guy in the practice room. Like, again, like we talked about, there wasn't like tough guys in my room because of just the lack of a group, but it was just me, my brother, and one other kid that were at least close enough to wrestle. And I would just beat on them for like most of the practice. I would beat on him and beat on him and beat on him, and I just kind of was more of a pace thing, keeping my pace up, keeping
Hmm.
my conditioning up, and just trying different things. Like it was like a creating confidence throughout, just kind of a learning thing. Like the practice room's a place to practice, it's a place to fail, and so I would be able to just do whatever I wanted in the practice room, and I kind of think that went on to the actual
Yeah.
competition where I could just kind of do whatever I wanted, and it was still super easy. So I'm like, okay, I must be pretty dang good. Now I did run into some buzz saws. Like I
Of
lost
course.
to lost to one of the Martinson brothers at Southeast Bowl tournament. Actually lost 14-2, I think. So like got beat on. But
Yeah.
when I lost to Kale Ranavardi at a tournament, I think I lost to kid from Scott at a tournament. Like
Yeah.
I found people that were outside of my reach at the time, but like as a whole, like I just knew there's nothing stopping me to get that medal. Like I have to
Mhm.
just kind of get it figured out, and I did. So
Yeah. Were you still going to Powerhouse at this time? Because it sounds like at times like you were doing the best you could to put yourself in practice, but there were maybe times where you needed extra help, I guess, if
so
that's what you want to say.
technically, like as a high school athlete, you can't go to like a club practice. Like I can't go to a practice, and the personal trainings could not be
Oh,
could not be a practice setting, and so it was there were times where I thought, yes, I have to do more and push myself more, but it
yeah.
kind of, I never really had the opportunity. So like when I found those chances to push more, it was in the conditioning style type of things. Like I
Yeah.
would run harder and faster. I would try and lift more weight. Like it wasn't much I could do at the practice room wise, but I think that me pushing myself to just kind of whoop on kids in the room, I think they got better because of it. I really credit a lot of my success to like Curtis Kreger. I talked to him about him already, but like when I
Yeah.
was a freshman and sophomore, he was a junior and senior, and I couldn't do anything against him. Like I said, my freshman year, I was a 40 win guy.
Yeah.
Could not do anything against Curtis though. Like I had to get so good at things that I didn't even know how to do at the time. Like
Mhm.
I was getting beat on in the room, and a lot of that kind of helped me out. Like, and I'm sure if you look at it, like the kids that I was beating on, I'd probably help them too. It's got to learn how to take your beatings and learn from them. It's one of those
Hmm.
types of things.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, when I have guys down here who wrestled at, in the University of whatever, and they're like, didn't get a takedown for the first 2 months or whatever, you hear those
Mhm.
stories all the time, but you stick with it and figure it out and you'll get
You
better.
do.
You're making gains, even though it doesn't feel like it, you
Yeah.
know?
Like Curtis was a left leg lead. I'll never forget this. He was a left leg lead, and I had a good single. I couldn't finish my single forever. And then this one time, I get him up off his feet. I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to finish this single. And he Jonesy tilts me. I'm like, I've never even seen a Jonesy tilt before in middle school. And then I get Jonesy. I'm like, oh my God, see, this is back to square one. Can't get him up to his feet because he'll Jonesy me. And it was I had to learn. It was tough.
Hmm.
I had to
Yeah.
learn.
But that senior year, when when did you get on the mat? Because you made that run to the state finals and state title in football, but that takes part of your season out a little bit, right? So like,
Yeah, so the last
were you wrestling
football
at
game.
all at that
No,
point? No.
no. My last my last football game I think was November 22nd, and
Wow.
that's that's the first week of wrestling there. Like I think it was what must be the 17th to the 22nd is the first week of practice. So I
Yeah.
don't think I touched the mat. I don't know. I think I missed Monday and Tuesday. I think I started Wednesday. So Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and then went from there obviously, but yeah, I had to miss basically a couple days, a week of practice really.
Did that did it take a second for you to like get into the groove of wrestling? Not only did you miss that first week, but like, I mean, you probably hadn't been on the mat for a while even.
Not since
And now you're
Fargo.
lifting and
Yeah.
you're eating and yeah, just throws a wrench
Again,
into
it was
things.
it was one of those things that's like you look at it, you think it'd be harder than it is, but it was one of those things that's like I talk about the confidence just rolling over. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of part of it. Like there was no break between where I had to
Oh,
and we
yeah.
won. So like there was no sulking period that the season was over. There was no I didn't get a chance to breathe, which I think actually worked better in my favor. I didn't cut any weight. I think I maybe cut 3, 4 pounds, but like
I was
as
gonna
you and
ask
I
what
both
you
know,
did.
that's
Yeah.
not cutting weight. That's
Yeah.
just me not being fat for football. Like um
Yeah.
and so I think it just kind of helped me feel fresh and it was a tough period there. I was like, oh my God, I gotta compete next week. But we figured out and we actually went to a trainer, which is a pretty weak tournament. And I wrestled a kid that got fourth at state, like my senior year. He actually placed higher than me, but I think I pinned him. But you know how state works; you don't always get those matches. But
Yeah.
like I wrestled a tough kid that first week, and I think that kind of helped. Like, okay, I'm back to where I belong. I know how to
Yeah.
do this again. Yeah, it was all fine and dandy. And actually, the weird part about it was so my junior year where I did not qualify. I lost at sectionals. I was
Right.
one win away from 100 wins. And so the first time I touched the mat, like competed my
Mhm.
senior year is for my 100th win. And so that's part of again, the confidence just keeps going. Like
Yeah.
I kind of had no reason not to be confident about what I was doing. And it, yeah, I mean, it kind of helped me just be a little more successful that year. And yeah, it was kind of a tough period. Like, oh my God, I'm missing the first week. I'm going to be behind, but
Hmm.
it didn't affect me too much.
No, clearly not. I mean, were you even rusty a little bit that first practice or that first match out? Like, did you
I'm
even feel?
sure. Like I remember, like I said, I competed and got that 100th win, but I teched the kid, but I remember just being dead tired. Like I again hadn't been conditioning for the 2 weeks, and the kid was a fighter. I
Yeah.
teched him, but like I was breathing so heavy and sweating so bad, like I couldn't get to my ties at the end because like my hands would just slip right off because I was sweaty, he was sweaty, and like I can remember being like, oh my gosh, like I gotta refocus on my conditioning. Yeah, it was different beast.
Yeah. Well, as the season rolled on and your confidence just kind of grew, um, you roll into the state tournament. I don't know how many wins you had. 40 again. I think you were like 40-5 or something. I
Something like
mean,
that, yeah.
I mean, what was it like? I should ask, to get on the podium. I mean, to win that blood round match. What I think you pinned the kid. I don't. I think.
Yeah. Going so at
Yeah.
districts week, I had a pretty easy district that year, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
But I remember at districts, I'm not gonna, again, don't want to throw anybody on the bus, but Jack Thompson got pinned in his district. He got second. Okay. And
Oh, from
so,
Union.
yeah, so
Wow.
that shook up our bracket quite a bit, like more than it should have, because the 1 seed was Hayden Taylor, who ended up being I think a 3-timer because he didn't get to
Yeah,
wrestle
from
his senior
Solon.
year. Yep.
Yeah.
But Hayden Taylor, who was a sophomore at the time, and then Jack Thompson were on the same half of the bracket. And not only were those two, the number 1 and number 2 ranked guys all year on the same half of the bracket, there was this kid named from Winterset. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Kid from Winterset, who was the 3rd ranked guy all year, was also on the top half of the bracket. And so going into the state tournament, I was like, oh my God, this is my shot to make something happen. And so I won my first match 10-6 or 10-2, I think it was 10-2. And then in my second match in the quarterfinals, I was winning the match for most of the period, or 2 periods, I think it was. I ended up getting pinned in a cradle. Like, I think it was off of a counter attack. He'd caught my head and pinned me in a cradle. And I was pretty defeated at that point, because I was like, again, looking at the bracket, like I could do something here, whether it was make the semifinals. That's kind of really all I needed to do, because then I get a medal. But I'm like, this would be the chance that I could maybe break through here. And the kid that pinned me had beaten a kid from West Delaware in his first match, which was an upset. And that kid beat me, and that kid is the one that beat Jack Thompson the week before. This kid named kid from North Polk. I couldn't tell you his name. I should know it, but kid from North Polk. And so he had been going on a tear.
Yeah.
He ended up kind of getting hurt in the semifinal match. And when I went backside, I wrestled a kid from Webster City in the blood round that I had teched already before. And I pinned him. So that was like a huge weight off my shoulders.
Right.
It was like, I finally did the thing I came here to do. Like, after all these years, I've got what I've earned. I've got what this is it. And so then the next match, I wrestled this kid from Decorah, and I think he wrestled Upper Iowa actually when he got out. But I wrestled the kid from Decorah, and I've watched that match a couple times. I was smooth. Like, that was one of my, because I didn't have anything to wrestle. Like, I had nothing to worry about at that point. I got my medal. It was smooth. I was hitting reattacks. I was, moving super quick. Like, it was good. And then in my consolation semis, I ran into Jack Thompson.
Yeah, there he is.
Who had pinned me in the minute and a half. There's a caveat to that. If Jack Thompson is watching this, you probably would have beaten me anyway, Jack. But so when he wrestled Hayden Taylor, I don't want to bring up any bad memories if he is watching this, but he wrestled Hayden Taylor. He lost in sudden victory because he had jumped the whistle early. He got too many cautions. And he lost on a caution to Hayden Taylor. And so when he wrestled me, again, he was beating me anyway. I felt when he was on top that he had jumped the whistle and jumped a half too early, and I ended up getting pinned. Again, this is me making excuses. He was going to beat me, but it's just kind of crazy to connect those dots together. Like, he was quick on the whistle, that's for sure. And he ended up pinning me in a minute and a half. But then for fifth place, I was supposed to wrestle the kid that I got pinned by on the front side, but he ended up with an injury default. So he had gotten hurt in his consolation semi match. So I didn't end up getting to get my revenge on him, but it was like I just remember winning my blood round. It was just a wash of worry. Like, I've been doing this for forever. And like, as you said, I was kind of going down, and I just kind of won that match. And it was like, finally, something's going right for me again on the wrestling mat. And it was a huge relief for me.
Was it bittersweet to end on a medical forfeit like that?
Yeah, it was.
You don't want that to happen. Plus, it's like the same guy that beat you on the front side.
Yeah.
So it's like double whammy.
Bittersweet. Like, I wanted to wrestle one more time. And as a senior, you go out to the mat, and I remember, like, I thought he was banged up. I saw him with ice on his knee in the back. And I'm like, maybe he's going to wrestle me. It's his last match ever too. And I walked out there, and his coach came over the table and said he's medical forfeiting. And I didn't know what to do with myself. Like, that was it. Like, in my last match ever, when I competed at high school, I got pinned. but I would have gotten, you know what I mean? I didn't get that last match. And so it was tough at the time. Like that was the big
Yeah.
embrace of my dad and my coaches. Like that was a big thing, but it didn't feel right at the time. For a little bit. Obviously, once you get out there and you get your medal, it's all fine and dandy. But like at the time, I'm like, that's it. Like on a medal
Yeah.
forfeit, I get my hand raised one more time, and there's nothing to it. You know, it was weird, but yeah, it was kind of bittersweet.
Yeah, especially when you're expecting to wrestle. It's not
Yeah,
one of those things where they told you like, yeah, he's done, he's out of the tournament. No, you were like all systems go, and then they go, just
yeah,
kidding. And you're like,
yeah, exactly.
really?
Pull the rug out
Yeah.
from underneath you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering about that, if how that made you feel. Because with all the circumstances, I mean, last match, you want to go out with a bang, and
Get the
same
revenge
kid you
on the kid.
wrestled,
Yeah,
revenge. I mean, there was just so much going into that match, and then it was just like, well, you win.
no, psych. Yeah, it
Still
was
though, I
it was
mean,
difficult.
that's so that'd be pretty special. Did you even give consideration to wrestling in college?
Not really, to be honest with you. I
Really?
think
I'm surprised by that.
I think looking back, it would have been great for me, and I think I would have loved it. But believe it or not, I think part of what I just think I was kind of, I don't want to say over the grind, but
Hmm.
like wrestling's tough. College
Yeah.
wrestling's even harder. And me being kind of on the fence, just kind of about things in high school, kind of was an indicator. Like, yes, you could do it. You could be successful. And college room is definitely different than like a high school setting. And I see that now, like being done with it. I think I would have probably fallen in love with it and could have been somewhat successful. Um, but I think at the time, I didn't really give much consideration. I know like
Really?
Briarcliff had sent me some things and Morningside had asked me some questions, but like it was nothing like I wanted to pursue really. And to be honest with you, I still kind of had thought I wanted to be a college football player more than I wanted to be a college wrestler,
That was going
which
to be my
is
other question. Yeah.
which is tough to think about because at the time I'm a 5'9", 5'10" with shoes on, 100 and the most I'd ever weighed at that time was like 160, 160 pounds ever.
Mhm.
So I'm like, at the time I was kind of just blind and naive to what college football needed from me. You know what I mean? And I thought I was kind of a big shot after winning a state title and, being this guy with all these great stats. I thought personally in my delusional head, I could be an FCS football player, like low D1. And obviously that's probably not super smart of me, but
The confidence,
once,
man.
yeah, again, like I was crazy at the time. But then COVID hit. And so
Oh, true.
So I wanted to do a walk-on tryout at UNI, and I was in contact with their staff. They're like, "We're gonna do one this fall," but then COVID hit, and then
Yeah.
so they didn't even have a season that fall. They had a season in the spring, and so my whole freshman year of like first semester, that fall semester of college, I was training my butt off, and
Seriously.
yeah, I thought I was the most athletic I've ever been. I was like 180 pounds. Like some of my maxes were as good as they've been. I was jumping as high as I could. Like I was arguably the most athletic I'd ever been. And then, I kept contacting Coach Farley and some of the other guys on staff, like, hey, are you going to do a tryout? Are you going to do a tryout?
Mhm.
And they never did because it was COVID. And they're like, we don't need to worry about our roster changing at this time. And we don't need to add guys. And it's COVID and all that
Dang.
stuff. And so they never did one. And then I did a tryout my junior year. I want to say like the fall of my junior year. And um, it went well. I didn't get it, but like I balled out. I just wasn't in the same type of athletic space as I had been because I thought I was done. But that's one of those things that kind of haunts me too. Like, not that I would have been a D1 guy, but I probably could have, would have, should have played a college sport because I think I would have been pretty good at it.
Yeah.
I just had unreal expectations based on what I had already done. So
Props to you for trying out, though. I mean,
yeah, I mean, had
hey,
to.
that was your junior year you tried out?
Yeah.
What was that like? Like, did they just put you
It-
through a bunch of drills?
yeah, it was a lot of just like speed and agility drills. It was really not a lot of position specific stuff. There was like
Hmm.
probably six of us. It was like one of those things you and I
Really?
UNI puts out like, hey, we're doing tryouts. Whoever shows up, shows up. And it was 6 of us. There was one guy that wanted to be a linebacker, 2 corners, and then the other 3 were wide receivers. And I had told him, like, I'll play anywhere. So wide receiver, corner, safety is, my stuff, but I didn't really care. And so it was basically just a lot of change direction drills and how quickly you can move and get to one spot and another. And it wasn't like I was catching a bunch of routes or trees or anything like that. We did one deep ball where it's just like, go jump as high as you can and get it its highest point. Like basically how you can see the ball, but like direction stuff. And I thought I did really well at it. It's just, again, look at me. I'm 5'10", 170 pounds at that time. Like, not much to being a college football player when you're that size. Like, it's just as simple as that. I don't meet the size standards.
Right. Yeah. And did you always, like, you went to UNI, was that the destination? Was that where you were going to go anyway? Always?
Yeah.
To be a teacher, is that like, that was your, okay.
I'd always heard that they were a great teacher college. And I'd looked at all 3 state colleges, went on tours and stuff. And I just kind of felt like Iowa and Iowa State were big, and I wouldn't really have the opportunity to kind of feel in a sense of community almost. Yeah. I probably was wrong, but like UNI's campus is kind of small, and it's a little more of a tight-knit community, and I liked where they were doing with their education stuff, and it kind of worked out that they're not a D1 school. I had a chance to go at least think about playing football, but
That's awesome. Did you sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. How did you end up on staff at Independence? I don't know if we talked about this, but like, I just feel like that was kind of just random.
Yeah. So to start this story, I got to start still back to my freshman year, wanting to be a competitor of something.
Yeah.
I went to Corn Cob Nationals in March, and so
to wrestle.
Yeah. So even before that, I'm not starting in the right spot. So being a PE teacher, you have to do, or any sort of teacher, you have to do in-field training. And so you go to like a school and you observe and you shadow. And I went to Waterloo West and I observed their football coach. And so then when Corn Cob came around, I'm like, I got to wrestle at least a little bit. Otherwise, I'm going to be hurting and not feeling good. And so I hit up the Waterloo West coach and said, hey, what's the wrestling coach's contact? I want to get in their room a little bit.
Who was that at the time?
Steve Farrell.
Oh.
So
okay.
So Steve Farrell was the Waterloo West coach at the time. He's like, can't get you into the high school room just because of timing and letting strangers in, but the youth program down there, youth program has a mat. You can just go in and use that whenever you want. And so he would let us into the youth room probably 2 or 3 nights a week, basically the entire month of March, and then we competed at the end. And then Steve had asked me if I wanted to work these wrestling camps in the next summer. And I'm like, I don't know. I've got no idea what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm, cut out to show technique. And then I realized Steve's bringing in like these D1 national champs to show technique. And all I have to do is supervise kids and ref matches. And I'm like, this is the easiest $400 I've ever made. So Steve and I got pretty close actually, because then the next winter he asked if I wanted to coach with him. And so I spent the entire winter at Waterloo West, where we were a pretty average team. I mean, we were in 3A, so it's kind of tough out there at Eastern Iowa in 3A. Had a kid qualify for state, and I think he went 1-2. I want to say maybe 0-2, but tough kid. Like, he was great. He got to wrestle with me all the time. It was just fun. It was a learning experience. I didn't realize how different coaching and wrestling was, and how much more. There's a different level of, you don't have to necessarily be good at wrestling to coach, but you have to be, you got to know how to communicate to kids and get the message across and kind of understand different levels of things. And so that was kind of my first introduction to how that part of it was run. And then the next summer I did camps with Steve. One of them was at Cedar Falls, and Independence was at that camp. And Coach Doyle and Coach Shannon were kind of there during the technique, and they had noticed me and approached me, and I don't know the full backstory behind why or who, what, when, where. They knew I was going to UNI, and they knew that I'd coached at Waterloo this last year, and they just kind of said, hey, we'd love to have you come in the room. We can get you a little bit of money if you want to come over. I know it's a drive, so basically just paying for gas, but like, we'd love for you to come over and help us, and you can learn from us. And it was just like a great opportunity. And And it kind of worked out because Steve didn't go back to Waterloo West that last year or that next year. So I was like, well, kind of need a new home anyway. And so that's kind of how I ended up at Independence. Like, just, again, another weird butterfly effect of like
No kidding.
knowing somebody and somebody approaching you, and simple as that.
How'd you do that with school? Like now I'm wondering, because now you're a 19-year-old kid
Yeah.
and you are going to school and now you're coaching a little bit and you're driving to Independence, which is probably what, 20 minutes or so, half hour
A
maybe?
half hour or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I
not the most motivated to do school. Like there's just, yeah.
The lucky part is, I don't want to discredit PE teachers, but one, I'm a PE teacher, so it's not like a lot of homework. A lot of it's lesson planning and hands-on stuff. So it's
For
not
sure.
as
Yeah.
writing a bunch of papers or doing, chemistry or, all that crap.
Yeah.
So I was able to schedule and plan out my courses that were all before 2 o'clock, so that they would be done by 2 o'clock. I get my stuff packed up, and by 2:30, I can get on the road and be in Independence by 3. So it took some like planning. I had to make sure everything was filled into the right schedule, and if I had to do things online, just to make it work, like it was kind of it was different. If that was for sure, it was a little different, but it wasn't like it was difficult. It worked out for me. So, and plus the year before, Waterloo gets done at 3, so then they can start practice right away. Independence didn't get done until 3:20, so I'd already been used to having to cut my classes a little earlier, schedule them specifically so that I could get to practice. But yeah.
And what about when you had to student teach? Were you still doing that when you were student teaching? Where did you
Yeah,
student teach, by the way?
so I student taught at Independence, which was the
No
nice
kidding.
part about it.
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
got in.
How'd that happen?
Well,
Did you
so
get
there's
placed there?
my student teach coordinator was Neil Mullen. He was a Union guy, but he was a wrestling guy for a little bit. He was a superintendent at Union. And I don't know if you know who Keith Donnelly is. Keith Donnelly is one of the assistants at Independence. Keith Donnelly knows he knows everybody.
Okay.
Like, he's got connections for the network. Like when he tells you the most valuable thing you can do is network, Keith Donnelly is the definition of networking. He knows everybody. And so he knew I was on staff, and I told him like, hey, because he knew Neil, and was like, hey, do you want me to get you in over here at Independence? We can make it happen and stuff like that. And he said, like, of course I want to be here. It makes things easy. And so I was able to get that connection there. Keith Donnelly put in a good word with Neil Mullen and was like, hey, we can make this happen. It's not that difficult. It's just making sure you're getting all levels in the same practice and you're not just taking it as an opportunity to coach.
Right.
I'm like, well, no, it's always serious for me. Again, I'm not just doing it to cut corners. And so spent 8 weeks at the high school and 8 weeks at the elementary. And so worked out, and I didn't have to, I could commute one way and not have to worry about being in a different school district.
Right. Dang, yeah, that worked out real well for you. What do you think of the independent schools? Pretty nice.
It is very nice. Yeah, Independence has probably, I don't know, it's 12 racks in their weight room, and they've got a great athletic culture. Wrestling wise, they've got 3 full mats in their room and a super nice coaches area and locker room and stuff. I think they've got 7 competition mats. That could be. I know they've got 4 that they only use for competition, but their practice mats flip over, so they've got 7, I believe. It's one of those things that, like, it was tough for me to come to Bellevue East just because, like, I was walking away from a school district that was super supported by community, and it was a wrestling area. Like, it was tough, but obviously I didn't have a job opening there, and so I had to think about, well, I could sub around the Waterloo area and probably make the same amount of money, but no, then you're kind of not wasting your time, but you don't get the same type of, school benefits and being your own type of thing. And it was like, yeah, but I wanted to start my own thing. Like, it's part of one of those things. You get an opportunity to be in a big school in a big area with, again, Bellevue is a traditional wrestling town. And so it was an opportunity for me to create my own luck, basically. Like, this is my opportunity to start my own. And it's hard to be a head coach in Iowa without something on your resume, but it's hard to be a head coach anywhere without something on your resume. And I kind of got lucky that Bellevue East trusted me to take the job. Like, worked out for me.
Yeah. Speaking of that, so you finished up your first year. Gosh, you've been. We're probably running on a year, right? 1 year,
Yeah.
12 months.
Yep.
12
12
months.
months.
What was the what was the biggest lesson you learned in year one? Because you're going to be entering your second season. So, like, if you could pinpoint one, maybe two, it doesn't have to be just one. Maybe there are a couple things that stand out, like being a head coach at a program like Bellevue East, and a little background, like they have had traditionally some tougher teams earlier, and maybe in the late 70s, early 80s, and a little bit in the 2000s. But it's Independence is well known. You're going to let me say this, aren't you? Independence is established. They have a good foundation, good culture. Bellevue East doesn't have any of that right now.
Right
Currently,
now, yes,
they have some people. They have some good pieces in place. Like, let's be honest. Let's not shy away from that. Okay,
there's a
there's
lot
some
of
good
great
people.
pieces in place. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
but
just gotta put them together.
right, we're just trying to find the way to put them together. So, what was that learning curve, or what was the big lesson you learned in year one?
I think number one, it was about finding a quality support system. This
True.
doesn't even have to go wrestling wise. This is just my life in general. Like, when I moved to Bellevue, I didn't know anybody. I
How
moved away
was
from
that?
my girlfriend. I moved away from family. Like, this is an area that I moved here by myself. I wasn't alone, but I
For
didn't
sure.
have anybody within many miles of me. And it was actually a lot easier than I thought it might be. The football coach, Aaron Tuman, was super helpful. Brian Ursick is the girls coach, so they're all PE people with me, and they've been super supportful since day one. I also met a few younger teachers that we hang out and stuff like that. As a girls coach, girls basketball coach, boys basketball coach, and then girls
Yeah.
soccer at the time. And so, like, just a bunch of guys like that were on my side, and it was weird for a little bit because I was like, well, I don't know who I'm going to know or what I'm going to know. It's going to be kind of me on my own. But it was very apparent that I was not alone right
Mhm.
away. And being in a community, like just kind of a friend group with coaches, like they're not going to shy away from helping you if you ask for it. Especially me being the 22 at the time, 22-year-old head coach. Like, I don't know anything. Like, I like to think I do, but like in the grand scheme of things, I don't know anything. And so it was great to have that support system right away. And as I've been here longer, I've found more and more people that I can trust and that have my back. And it's it's really important to let those people know that you support them and let them know how much they support you and how much that means to you. Like, that support system it's changed my life, to be honest with you. It's been great. Wrestling wise, what I've learned is that not everybody has the goal to be a state champion. Like, not everybody has the same aspiration to achieve excellence or understand what it means to be excellent. I think that a lot of people in the community don't understand what it means to be a little fish in a big pond. Not just the wrestling community. I'm talking about like just the Omaha Metro. Everybody
Right.
thinks that they are a big fish in a little pond, where it's the opposite. They are actually just another pawn in the Omaha area. And so I think something that my personal experience is, like, not everybody is on my wrestling team to be the best. Some of them are just there to hang out with friends and they need it socially and to have the experiences. And it's just different because at Independence they have their specific goal is to win a state title. They're trying to get one, but before, not that Doyle is leaving anytime soon, but before Doyle can, like, so he can really get there. And here at Bellevue, like, we're not looking for a state title right now. We're looking for growth every day, culturally and technically and physically. Like, it's just a different type of starting point where we're at. And part of
Yeah.
it is just like understanding how to get on the same page with our philosophies. And not all my kids are out for the sport to be. I'm sure they would love to be a state champ, but they kind of are realistic, and they understand that they're kind of there to enjoy it. And I think that was kind of hard for me to adjust to as the young guy that wants to be the best. Like, it was difficult for a little bit, but we're getting through it.
Yeah. Yep. I know it's funny because like we don't want to say the wrong thing, because there's a lot that goes into this, being a coach of a program that is maybe struggling a little bit and wanting to get it to where you are used to being, like you're used to being at a school like Independence, but trying to help kind of be realistic along the way of like how long, like, do you have a timeline? Like, have you thought, like, when you're sleeping at night, now your wife, well, fiance is there, but like before it was just you. I mean, you probably stayed up at night going, gosh, what am I going to do? You probably had all these diagrams and freaking messages and tables and how do I do this? Maybe if I do this, like, were you just like a madman, like a wrestling
Yeah,
maniac?
I mean, I tried to, again, like I said, like I know when to focus and when not to focus, but there were some nights like we would come home from a tournament or a duel and we just would get whooped on or something, and I'd come home, make food, and be like, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm a guy that wants to solve the problem. Now, obviously, I'm not gonna know every solution. Again, I'm 23 years old, but like I'm the guy that wants to try and solve the problem. So there was times I'm like, shoot, I could try this and do this and this, whatever, but what if this happens? And like, how am I going to handle this? And like, it was a lot of just deep thought that first, some nights. I couldn't tell you a time frame because I think that all communities run differently, and it depends kind of where you're at and who buys into you. So I think, again, I talk about that support system that I have built for myself. I think the next step is to build or grow the Bellevue wrestling support system so that it in turn can grow inside out, if that makes sense. So there's not really a time frame, but I think that these next 2 to 3, are going to be very, very pivotal, if that's what you're wanting me to hint at there.
Yeah. You're right. Like, you got to start somewhere, and like basically, if you don't start now, then when? So yeah, like these next couple years, can be very important because 3 years from now, if you're in the same spot, you just wasted 3 years.
Well, we got to reevaluate something. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. So, what has been? Let's talk about something positive though. Okay, we've had a little bit of like kind of the tough truth. All right, look ourselves in the mirror, reflect, and hard truth. What's been a couple positives though that you've taken from being around a group like this that, like you said, you have those long nights where you're like, man, what am I gonna do? But then you have a day where you're just like, wow, that was fun. This was great. That was positive. It kind of reinvigorates you a little bit,
I think a lot of it, the two things. One is when a kid can finally see the progress, and two is I get to create lifelong memories for a lot of these kids. At the end of the day, I like to win, but in reality, you're worried. Like, I'm impacting these people's lives. Like, I'm helping these kids make memories that will last a lifetime. And there's a reason you and I are talking on our wrestling podcast right now. It's because wrestling impacted our life pretty importantly. And so to create this positive aura around wrestling for these kids is really the goal, because wrestling will change your life, whether you believe it or not, or see it every day. Wrestling changes your life. And so if I can create a positive memory around wrestling for these kids, that's something that has been super impactful for me. Like, we took these kids on a road trip to Iowa City to go watch Iowa versus Nebraska wrestle. Some of those kids have probably never seen college wrestling. They've never been that far to a college campus. They've never seen packed arena, and they, like a comeback win from Iowa with, Ben Keeter whooping up on the Nebraska heavyweight. Like, go Hawks, by the way. Like, that kind of thing is something those kids aren't going to forget. Those long van rides with their friends, and we're not worried about competing. We're just having fun. Like, when we went to this Luther camp, it was like the best thing these kids did was play in a river. Like, not that this was a nice sandy beach or, all-inclusive resort. We went to the upper Iowa River, and there was a rope swing on a tree, and that's the most fun they had. Like, probably a lot of those kids haven't done a rope swing or gotten to, do things like that. It's whether they see it in the moment or not, like it's creating these positive memories that I have a good aura of what wrestling means in my life. And so that they can kind of have that same type of, memory when they get to it. And then, yeah, like the progress part of it, like kids start from day one and they might not be able to get a takedown. Well, then like the end of the month, oh, you've gotten 3 takedowns on a couple kids. Like whether they believe it, like, oh, I'm still bad, I only got 3 takedowns. Yeah, but you were at 0 and now you're at 3. Whether you believe it or not, that is progress. Like there's a lot to build on when the kids are wanting to buy into it. Like there's a lot. It's easier to see the process and see the progress that gets made when they trust you and they enjoy what they're doing. And so creating that positive mindset to it so that they can see the progress that they build throughout the way. That's really enjoyable to me.
Yeah, you're putting in a lot of time to do this. I mean, do you ever wonder, like, is it worth it?
No.
I mean, it's because it's similar to wrestling. It's similar to when you're competing and you're like, man, at times you can get burnt out as a coach just as much as you can a wrestler. You know what I mean? And maybe you haven't felt that yet because you're in year 1, but I mean, Doyle hasn't felt it. But there are some coaches out there that like they put in all this time like you are putting in, especially in this first year, and like at some point it can also be like, man, whew,
yeah,
what am I doing?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I have not felt it yet. It's still early, which is the good thing. Like I hope I never have to feel this burnout. But as I am getting older and life is getting more serious, getting married next year, and as I move forward, it's not going to be as easy for me to give my time away and eventually have other obligations within my family and all that kind of stuff. And I hope that I never lose that passion for it. I don't think I will, but I haven't felt that burnout yet. And I like it because, when I was in high school, I loved being busy all the time because I knew that if I was being busy or doing something, it was making me better. Like, believe it or not, like, yeah, I went to, in high school, we just talked about it. I would wrestle 7 days a week, basically, and I would do extra workouts 5 of those days. Like, yeah, that sucked, but I knew that as long as I did it, I was getting better. And so when I'm talking about coaching and I'm giving up 4, 5, 6, 7 nights a week doing all this coaching stuff, like, yeah, in the small window of things, it kind of is tough. Like you might not get home till late. You don't get to always eat. Like you're losing sleep, but like I'm getting better. And whether I see those results this year or not, I'll never know. But hopefully that somebody's seeing it, somebody's getting better, somebody's helping the progress, for themselves. And I can only do so much. And as long as I'm trying, then at least I can have the self-satisfaction of myself. Like I talk to my kids all the time. Putting in the time does not guarantee the success, but it guarantees that you give yourself the best advantage for it. Like, so that when you do look back, you can say, well, at least I gave it everything. And obviously this first year, I might not be seeing the progress the second year as much as, I might want to, but at least I could say I did everything I could. Like we went through all that freestyle Greco stuff, hosted a camp, went to a camp, like did open mats, we did all this stuff. Like if that doesn't do anything, then at least I can say I gave everything I could, there's no regrets to it.
Yeah. And that, that's the biggest lesson there is, what do I want to say? Basically, if you prepare as best you can, you do everything you can, the result's going to be what it is. And it's easier to live with it when you know you've done everything that you can to put yourself to at least have the possibility to succeed, essentially, right?
Yeah. I mean, we talk about it a little bit this spring, like surrender the outcome. Like, what's it matter if I'm wrestling a kid from Creighton Prep and he's a 3-time state champ? Like, that at the same time, you step on that same line he does, you breathe the same air, you bleed the same blood. It's 0-0 going into the match. Like, no matter what happens, you got to be prepared going into that. Like if you didn't prepare, then you're going to have self-doubt, and then that self-doubt will creep in and you won't perform to your best. But when you prepare and you do what you need to do and you trust yourself and you've put yourself in those tough situations and you know how to handle them, like that's part of like the confidence piece of it. Like you've been through hell, and so that you know how to avoid it, basically, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Dang, this is deep. I did not
It's
expect to
kind
get
of
this
deep.
deep.
Yeah.
But that's good. That's good stuff, though. I mean, geez, like I feel like what you're listing or talking about here, just as a first year head coach, is pretty impressive. Like, I don't want to sit
Yeah.
here and kiss your ass, but um,
Well, you
it's
want to turn it around. It all comes from Doyle, dude. Like Doyle
yeah,
and Steve Farrell. Like those are the guys, and my dad. I mean, all three of them. Like the head coaches I've been around, I've been blessed to know. Like my dad he did it the tough way. He did it hard. He
yeah,
knew how to get people to bust their ass and give everything for 6 minutes. Steve Farrell knows how to run wrestling, not necessarily always from a business model, but he knows how to kind of get people to buy into what he's doing. And I mean, Coach Doyle, I mean, you know everything about him. He's already
yeah,
been on your podcast. Like, he's a well-rounded guy that can bring a whole community together and fight for the same thing and it's just one of those things that's like I've been around some great, I don't want to say leaders, but yeah, I mean, great
yeah,
leaders, and I mean, people that I can model how to coach after. And again, 23 years old, I don't know everything, but like at least I've got some sort of thought and goal of what it
for
should
sure.
look like. So whether we can get there next year or in 10 years, I mean, I know, at least I like to think that I know what it's supposed to look like, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Dang. Okay. That was a good answer. That was a good answer. Because you're right. Like you've been around some really high level people, and so like you almost have like a step ahead. Some people can come into a job going like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, or like I haven't been an assistant before, or maybe they have been for like a year, and then they just kind of get thrown into things, or they wrestled and they're like, I want to be a head coach, and then they're a head coach and they don't know how to run a practice
Yeah.
or the structure of a season.
Yeah. I agree. Like, not that I am super great at being a head coach, but like I had 3 years of assistant coaching experience before I
For
even
sure.
graduated college.
Yeah.
And so, like, you think of there's great college wrestlers. I'm not discrediting them. Those guys have never ran a practice for high school kids. Like, they've just grinded and competed and did
Right.
their thing in the winter. But like, I've had 3 years of experience already. And so it's one of those things that it kind of worked out for me in my favor to not do those college sports, if you think about it.
Yeah. Well, my uncle always says, he always said that the best thing he ever did was he was an assistant at North Polk for a few years, and he's like he would tell excuse me, he would tell everyone like be an assistant. Everyone wants to jump into head coach. They want to be the
Hmm.
guy, they want to be the dude with the chain on,
Yeah.
But it's nice. It works out better if you be an assistant, especially at Independence. Dang, you can see how
Oh
they
yeah.
run things. I mean,
Oh yeah.
then you can take that into your practices and figure it out as you go a little bit, tailor it to your specific goals. But yeah, that's just what he always told me.
Oh
Because I
yeah.
mean, I was thinking the same thing. Like, I want to be head coach, and then
Yeah.
like I volunteer this year with you, and I'm like, whoa, maybe I don't, or at least
Yeah.
maybe I'm
'Cause
not ready right now.
it's tough. And like, yeah, being an assistant around those programs, it's like you get to see the ins and outs. You have to be the hardest working guy there because
Right.
I mean, you want to try and take as much pressure off the head coach as possible. Like, if there's little knick-knack things, don't make the head coach do it. Try and do it yourself and try and help out the team the best you can with what you got. And being an assistant is like doing everything but without the glory. Like, that's kind of part of being a coach in general. Like, yes,
True.
everybody's going to look to the head coach, but at the same time, like, your staff is the collective group of people that is going to make the whole team get better. And the head coach is just one with his name on it. But like, I mean, in a grand scheme of things, I have a very small impact of what actually happens. Like, the staff is what makes the most impact around the biggest group of kids. Like, I can't help everybody personally, but if I've got three coaches that I really trust and are really good that can go impact 20, 30 different kids, like that's more about being an assistant coach is trying to help gain as much as you can from learning from the top guy and spreading your knowledge to everybody that the head coach might not have time for, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Now, I'm not
Yeah,
saying
for
the head
sure.
coach doesn't have time for everybody, but you get what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. I just remember walking in and like to the Bellevue East room and just thinking about just we had just the biggest group of misfits, man.
We did. Yeah.
But there are misfits, you
There
know
are
what I mean?
misfits. I freaking love
So
them. Yeah.
yeah, Yeah, that's the fun thing. They know how to keep it light. It's just now it's sort of turning it up a notch to get them to be a little more serious, like
Yeah.
take this a little more serious and
Kind of.
have them believe that they can do something.
Yeah. It's the
Like they
mental
don't.
side of it. Like
Right.
they like to wrestle, but it's getting them to realize what like a wrestling lifestyle is
Right.
and how they can, yeah, believe and have hope that they can do it. That's really all it is.
Right. Because right now, yeah, for me, from my outside perspective, that's what I see is there's just there's almost an expectation of, we're not going to win. But
We're
it,
Bellevue East. We're average, whatever, and they don't
right.
want to change that narrative. But as I said last year, I didn't come to Bellevue East to just be another nobody. Like we're going to be Bellevue East Wrestling is going to be the program that the rest of the school models and the rest of the state models. But again, takes time and patience. So
Yeah. And it takes a group of kids to really buy in. I think we're getting there. There's some guys that are buying in. It may be a little too late. They're a little older, but um I think when younger guys see them buy in, then they start to buy it, and it just kind of trickles down a little bit. And I
oh
think
yeah,
we're starting to see the river flow downhill a little bit, which is nice.
yes, I think shout out Doug Schwab. I remember seeing a video of him is
Schwab.
like leave the program in a better place than when you found it. Like
Right.
you think about some of our juniors and seniors, like they kind of got screwed into a difficult situation, but like if they can leave this situation better than when they found it, the whole wrestling just community of Bellevue East and just Bellevue is going to get better. Like if I'm a leader at the high school and I can tell freshmen and help freshmen get a little bit better and help sophomores get better, like that's me doing my part. Even if I'm not the best wrestler on the team, if I can leave it in a better place than when I found it, I'm doing my part.
Yeah.
So we got to get our guys to believe that they can do that and keep spreading that message so that it grows with it in.
Yeah. And like I'll end with this. Like that's something I remember when my uncle first took over MFL Marmac, they were not very good. But I remember those guys that seemed to fight tooth and nail. They didn't always win. They weren't very good, but eventually they ended up winning. And they won a conference title, and that was kind of the
Mm-hmm.
beginning. But like they paved the way. They weren't very good. No offense, Tim Reichs and like Aaron Hines and like Derek Detman. They weren't very
Yeah.
good, but they started it. And it sort of just, like I said, that trickled downhill. And next thing you know, guys coming in were good, and they believe they could be good, and they never stop being good.
Oh yeah.
So,
Someone's got to be the first to change the narrative, and
right,
why not me? Why not us? You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
Why not the seniors we've got? Why not us?